Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. A lion doesn't turn around when a dog barks. This ancient proverb perfectly encapsulates the mindset of a loyal Sigma male, quiet, commanding, and utterly unbothered by petty noise. But what happens when the loyalty of this rare breed is betrayed? Spoiler alert, it's not what you'd expect. Here's an undeniable psychological fact to chew on. People who are highly loyal often experience deeper emotional hurt when betrayed. But unlike most, Sigma males don't lash out or seek revenge. They process pain in ways so unexpected, it leaves the offender spinning in confusion. Think of it as a chess game where they're already 5 moves ahead, and you're still figuring out the rules. In this video, we're peeling back the layers of what really happens when you cross a Sigma male. Spoiler alert. It's not the drama you'd see on a Netflix soap opera, but it's just as satisfying. So if you've ever wondered what's going on in the mind of the quiet powerhouse you just hurt, or you're just here for the brutal truths, buckle up. It's about to get raw, real, and maybe a little uncomfortable, especially if you're the one who hurt him. Number 1, he becomes a mirror, exposing truths. When a Sigma male withdraws after being hurt, he doesn't yell, argue, or try to prove a point. Instead, his absence itself becomes a statement. It's like he flips an internal switch, and suddenly the person who betrayed him is left alone with their own actions and the consequences. The thing about a Sigma male is that he doesn't need to explain himself or his feelings. He simply removes his presence, and in doing so, he forces others to confront the reality of what they've done. This unspoken response is more effective than any argument or confrontation could ever be. Without him around, the person who hurt him begins to notice the void he leaves behind. His silence becomes a mirror, reflecting their behavior back at them. They start to see the cracks in their own character, the selfishness or the carelessness that drove him away. It's a form of accountability they can't escape, no matter how much they try to rationalize their actions. What makes this so impactful is that it's not intentional manipulation. It's just who he is. A Sigma male doesn't believe in wasting energy on those who don't value him. By walking away, he lets natural consequences take over. It's not revenge, but it often feels like it to the person on the receiving end. They're left with guilt, regret, and the uncomfortable realization that they might not be the person they thought they were. For the Sigma male, this isn't about teaching a lesson. It's about preserving his peace and maintaining his self-respect. But in the process, he ends up exposing the truth about the person who betrayed him and about the kind of connection they never deserved to have with him in the first place. At number 2, he learns the value of no. When a Sigma male experiences betrayal, it serves as a powerful wake-up call, one that teaches him the value of a single, underrated word, no. This isn't just about rejecting others, it's about setting boundaries that protect his energy, his peace, and his priorities. After being hurt, he learns that saying yes to everyone is a fast track to self-betrayal. Whether it's toxic relationships, manipulative demands, or situations that compromise his integrity, he no longer feels obligated to please others at his own expense. No becomes his shield, a word that signifies strength rather than selfishness. It's not an act of rebellion, but an act of self-respect. Even more impressively, he doesn't just say no to people who've wronged him, he also learns to say it to himself. He becomes hyper-aware of his own tendencies to overextend, overthink, or overinvest in people who don't deserve his loyalty. When he feels the impulse to give someone the benefit of the doubt, he pauses and assesses whether that person has truly earned it. If they haven't, his answer is clear. This newfound ability transforms his relationships and his life. He stops tolerating behavior that drains him, and he only invests in connections that align with his values. Over time, his no isn't met with resistance. It's respected. People recognize that it's not a rejection of them, but a reflection of his standards. Ultimately, saying no empowers him to live on his own terms. It's not just a word. It's a declaration of his maturity and a reminder that his loyalty, once betrayed, is not something that can ever be taken for granted again. Number 3, he withdraws his energy, leaving a vacuum. When a Sigma male pulls back after being hurt, It's not just his presence that disappears, it's his energy, his loyalty, and his quiet yet powerful support. This withdrawal doesn't happen with dramatic announcements or angry confrontations. Instead, it's subtle, calculated, and deeply impactful. One day he's there, adding value to someone's life, and the next it's like a vital spark has gone out. What makes this so profound is that a Sigma male's energy is unique. He doesn't just give his time and attention. He gives his genuine care, his unwavering support, and his thoughtful insights. His loyalty creates an unspoken sense of security that many don't fully appreciate until it's gone. Once he withdraws, the absence isn't just noticed, it's felt. Conversations lose their depth, interactions feel hollow, and the person who hurt him begins to sense the undeniable emptiness left in his wake. This vacuum often triggers a delayed realization for the person who betrayed him. They may not have valued his quiet strength or subtle contributions when he was around, but his absence shines a glaring spotlight on just how much he brought to their life. By the time they grasp the depth of their loss, it's usually too late. A Sigma male doesn't withdraw lightly, and once he does, there's rarely a way back. For the Sigma male, this isn't about punishment. He doesn't withdraw to prove a point or manipulate emotions. It's simply his way of protecting his energy and prioritizing his self-worth. But in doing so, he unintentionally forces others to face the truth. His presence wasn't just a convenience, it was a gift. A gift they underestimated until it was no longer theirs to keep. At number 4, he channels pain into purpose. For a Sigma male, pain is never wasted. While others might drown in self-pity or seek vengeance, he quietly redirects his hurt into something productive and transformative. Pain becomes his fuel, a force that drives him to create, grow, and evolve in ways that leave others stunned. It's not about proving a point to anyone else. It's about rising above the pain and reshaping it into a source of personal power. When betrayed, a Sigma male doesn't spiral into chaos. He shifts his focus entirely. He might pour himself into a new project, refining his skills or mastering a challenge that has been on his radar for a while. The energy he could have wasted on anger or sorrow is instead channeled into progress. Whether it's building a business, pursuing a creative passion, or tackling personal development, every move he makes is deliberate and impactful. This transformation isn't loud or showy. He doesn't post about it or seek validation. Instead, his progress speaks for itself. Over time, the person who caused his pain may look back and realize they were nothing more than a stepping stone on his journey to something greater. That realization, crushing. The Sigma male also uses this time to explore uncharted territories in his life. He might try new hobbies, travel, or completely reinvent himself. The pain acts as a motivator, reminding him of what he stands to gain by focusing on his future rather than lingering in the past. In the end, his ability to turn hurt into purpose becomes his superpower. He doesn't just heal, he transforms. The person who betrayed him fades into irrelevance, while he emerges stronger, sharper, and more unstoppable than ever before. Pain didn't break him, it built him. Number 5, he redefines loyalty for himself. When a Sigma male experiences betrayal, it doesn't shatter his belief in loyalty, it refines it. For someone as introspective and deliberate as a Sigma, the sting of betrayal is less about anger and more about clarity. It sharpens his perception of people and forces him to reevaluate what loyalty truly means and who deserves it. Instead of becoming bitter or distrustful, he develops a deeper understanding of loyalty as something sacred, not freely given to everyone. He begins to see it as a two-way street where trust and respect must flow both ways. Betrayal acts as a filter, weeding out those who never truly valued him in the first place. He learns to prioritize quality over quantity, recognizing that a smaller circle of genuine, trustworthy connections is far more valuable than a crowd of superficial ones. From this point on, the Sigma male becomes highly selective about whom he allows into his inner world. He no longer gives people the benefit of the doubt simply because they ask for it. Instead, he observes their actions, consistency, and intentions over time. If someone proves themselves unreliable or disloyal, they're simply kept at a distance. There's no dramatic fallout, just a quiet shift that reinforces his boundaries. This redefinition of loyalty doesn't make him cynical, it makes him smarter. He still values deep, meaningful relationships, but he no longer tolerates one-sided connections. His loyalty becomes a rare currency, given only to those who earn it. For the Sigma male, betrayal isn't a setback. It's a lesson that teaches him to protect his energy and invest only in relationships that reflect the same level of loyalty he offers. In the end, this clarity strengthens him, making his loyalty even more valuable and his life more peaceful. Number 6. He refuses to justify himself. When a Sigma male decides to walk away, he does so without fanfare or explanation. He doesn't waste his time drafting speeches or engaging in endless debates to justify his actions. For him, the decision is final, and the reasons behind it are personal. He knows that trying to explain himself to people who've already shown a lack of respect or understanding is like shouting into the void. It serves no purpose. This refusal to justify isn't arrogance. It's a deep belief in the power of actions over words. He understands that those who truly value him wouldn't require an explanation, and those who don't won't care enough to listen anyway. Instead of chasing closure or seeking validation, he lets his absence speak volumes. It's a powerful statement. If his presence wasn't appreciated, his departure will be undeniable. By refusing to defend his choices, he also avoids getting dragged into unnecessary drama. He knows that endless explanations often turn into arguments, where the focus shifts from the core issue to who can outtalk the other. The Sigma male opts out of this game entirely, choosing peace over pointless conflict. What sets him apart is his unshakable self-assurance. He trusts his instincts and knows his worth. If someone fails to understand or respect his decision, that's not his problem to solve. His life isn't a courtroom, and he's not there to prove his case to anyone. This quiet confidence can be unsettling to those who expect closure or confrontation. But for the Sigma male, walking away without justification is an act of self-respect. It's a reminder that his time and energy are far too valuable to be spent convincing anyone of his worth. Number 7. He exudes an aura of unbothered strength. When a Sigma male is hurt, he doesn't crumble or lash out. Instead, he radiates a quiet, unbothered strength that leaves others puzzled. It's not that he's immune to pain, far from it, but he processes it internally, choosing self-control over emotional outbursts. This composure isn't a facade. It's a reflection of his self-mastery and his refusal to let anyone else dictate his emotional state. This calm exterior often confounds those who expect a dramatic reaction. They wonder if he's unaffected or if he simply doesn't care. The truth is far more complex. He feels the sting of betrayal deeply, but understands that reacting impulsively only gives power to those who've wronged him. Instead of showing weakness, he channels his energy into maintaining his balance and preserving his dignity. What makes this aura of strength so impactful is its authenticity. It's not about suppressing his emotions, but owning them. He acknowledges his hurt privately, processes it on his terms, and refuses to let it define him. To outsiders, it seems like he's unshakable, which often leaves the person who hurt him unsettled, even regretful. They realize they didn't break him. They simply removed themselves from his life. This unbothered demeanor isn't about indifference. It's about choosing peace over chaos. The Sigma male knows that losing his composure would only hand control to someone unworthy of it. By standing tall in the face of hurt, he not only protects his self-respect, but also demonstrates a level of emotional resilience that's rare and deeply admirable. It's this quiet strength that sets him apart, leaving an indelible impression on everyone who witnesses it, especially those who underestimated him. Number 8. He won't seek revenge, but life has a way. A Sigma male doesn't waste time seeking revenge. He doesn't dwell on payback or try to orchestrate a downfall for those who've wronged him. Instead, he recognizes that life has a way of balancing the scales, often in ways more profound and inevitable than any action he could take. Revenge is a futile game in his eyes, and he has too much respect for his own time and energy to get caught up in it. His focus is always on growth, personal, emotional, and professional. While others might fixate on retaliation or plotting, the Sigma male channels his energy into his own development. He invests in himself, knowing that his success, peace of mind, and well-being are far more powerful responses than anything he could do to hurt someone else. He believes that the universe has a natural way of correcting injustices, and those who wrong him will face the consequences of their actions, even if it's not immediately apparent. Rather than obsess over what others have done, he allows life to do the heavy lifting. Karma, fate, or just the natural unfolding of time will eventually make things right. The Sigma male understands that chasing revenge only keeps him tied to the past, while forward movement is where his true power lies. His success becomes the ultimate statement, a quiet yet undeniable form of justice. In the end, the person who wronged him is left to face their own consequences, and often they realize too late that their actions have already created their downfall. Meanwhile, the Sigma male continues to grow, evolve, and move forward, knowing that life will take care of the rest. He doesn't need to seek revenge. Life has a way of doing it for him, often in ways that are far more satisfying than he could have ever orchestrated. Number 9. He cultivates emotional self-sufficiency. For a Sigma male, emotional self-sufficiency isn't just a trait, it's a way of life. He understands that relying on others for emotional fulfillment is a form of vulnerability, and vulnerability, in his eyes, opens the door to potential harm. When he's hurt, he doesn't seek comfort or validation from others. Instead, he reinforces his emotional independence. This isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about building an inner strength that doesn't require external affirmation to feel whole. After a betrayal or emotional wound, the Sigma male doesn't turn to friends or family for a shoulder to cry on. He doesn't post his feelings on social media for sympathy. Instead, he processes his emotions privately, retreating into himself to work through the pain at his own pace. By doing this, he ensures that his happiness and emotional stability aren't contingent on someone else's actions or approval. He is his own anchor, and that self-reliance makes him incredibly resilient. This commitment to emotional self-sufficiency is a reflection of his deep understanding of his own worth. The Sigma male doesn't need validation from others because he has already validated himself. He knows who he is, what he stands for, and what he's capable of. Nothing external can shake that foundation. This independence allows him to avoid becoming entangled in drama or emotional manipulation. He doesn't rely on others to fill the gaps in his life. Instead, he focuses on self-improvement and creating his own fulfillment. For the Sigma male, being emotionally self-sufficient isn't about isolation, it's about empowerment. He controls his emotional landscape, and in doing so, he becomes even more focused on his goals, more resilient in the face of setbacks, and more grounded in his own values. He knows that true strength comes from within, and by refusing to depend on others, he ensures that no one can take away his peace. Number 10. He masters the art of detachment. When a Sigma male experiences hurt or betrayal, his ability to detach is almost eerie in its precision. Unlike most people who may linger on past relationships, replaying conversations, or rehashing emotions, he has mastered the art of emotional detachment. It's not about bitterness or anger. It's about an unflinching acceptance that some connections no longer serve him, and it's time to move on. The Sigma male doesn't cling to past emotions or experiences, even the painful ones. He understands that holding on to old wounds only drags him backward, and he refuses to let anything anchor him in a place of stagnation. Once he's hurt, he doesn't need closure, apologies, or explanations. He's quick to sever the emotional ties and move forward with a clarity that others may find unsettling. This detachment isn't cold or cruel, it's a sign of his emotional maturity. He knows that not all relationships are meant to last, and he's okay with that. He doesn't waste energy trying to revive something that's already run its course, whether it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a professional connection. If it no longer aligns with his values or brings him peace, he has no problem letting it go. What makes this detachment so striking is its calmness. There's no dramatic confrontation or over-the-top reactions. He simply steps away, emotionally and mentally, leaving behind a person who might not even understand the depth of his decision until it's too late. His actions speak louder than any words ever could. He doesn't need to explain because he knows the worth of his energy and the importance of protecting it. The Sigma male detaches with surgical precision because for him, peace of mind and emotional freedom are far more valuable than holding on to something that no longer fits. In the end, when you hurt a loyal Sigma male, you're not just facing someone who will react impulsively or chase after you for closure. You're confronting a person who understands the power of silence, the strength of independence, and the importance of emotional self-sufficiency. His response to betrayal is not about revenge or drama, it's about transformation. He doesn't need to explain himself, because his actions speak louder than any words ever could. He moves forward with purpose, leaving behind a trail of growth, clarity, and strength that's undeniable. The Sigma male doesn't hold grudges, he simply shifts his focus to bettering himself, knowing that true justice will unfold in ways far beyond his control. He doesn't beg for anyone's loyalty or validation because he's already mastered the art of self-reliance. When he withdraws his energy, it's not out of malice, but out of an understanding that his peace is far more important than the drama of someone who doesn't deserve his presence. So, when you betray a Sigma male, you're not just losing his trust. You're losing someone who was, and always will be, emotionally independent and laser-focused on his own growth. The absence he leaves is more powerful than any confrontation. He doesn't need to prove a point. He simply shows, through his life and his actions, that his loyalty is something to be earned, not taken for granted. In the end, the loss is entirely theirs. If you found yourself captivated by the Sigma male's incredible strength and resilience, don't miss out on more insightful content like this. Subscribe to the channel where we dive deep into the mindset, strategies, and principles of those who live life on their own terms. You won't want to miss the next revelation that could change the way you view loyalty, independence, and personal growth. Hit that subscribe button and join a community of individuals who know that real power lies within.